Today's video is sponsored by BetterHelp. Now, if you don't know what BetterHelp is, it's an online therapy platform that allows you to fill out a survey that then matches you, usually within 48 hours, to a therapist that best fits your needs, depending on what they may be, whether it's goal setting or helping out with something that's a little bit more emotional. Now, the convenience of this is that it is mobile, meaning there's an app, you can put it on your phone, you make calls, chats, group therapy from the ease of your car on a lunch break, for an example. And that example is my example. I recently am dealing with another family member that is going through some addiction struggles that has landed them hospitalized. And this is the third one if you've been on this channel long enough. So please, if you are struggling with anything mental health wise, substance wise, take the opportunity to click the link down below, which will give you a deal on your first month with BetterHelp. And I think you'd be shocked how much therapy can help you in so many different aspects of your life. So BetterHelp, thank you for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get into fertilizer. This video can only be watched by the most open-minded individuals. Now, Geek Crew, I know you're open-minded. The rest of the internet, we will see how epic the comment section is going to get. Let's keep it PG, folks. We're going to look at the difference between organic and synthetic fertilizer. And the organic stuff has blood meal in it. So Kane loves blood meal. He loves rolling in it. He loves eating it. He loves sniffing it. It's a mess. Okay, so for me personally, I use a hybrid between synthetic and organic. We'll talk about why that is here in a little bit. For right now, let's get into the differences between the two. So the difference between synthetic and organic, the best way to look at this is that organics are made from, at one time, living biological matter, whether that be manure, compost, blood meal, bone meals, seaweed, something or other, all of it. Phytoplankton, even though I'll do a separate video on that shiznit, because for now, just don't buy it. The synthetic world is really old material that was once organic, thousands and thousands and millions of years ago, that now is being processed to make a product that we fertilize with. They are both from living material, technically. One, however, is processed, and in some cases, organics can also be processed. Just keep that in mind, that there's quite a bit of processing that can go into that as well. So if that's what you're looking at from a, impact on carbon input standpoint, watch for, potentially organics that have obviously went through some sort of processing. Both of these, synthetics or organics, applied in excess can kill your plants. It can cause fertilizer burn. And more specifically, the synthetics, the reason for that has nothing to do with the fact that it's synthetic and everything to do with the fact that it's much easier to over-apply a synthetic fertilizer. It is a concentrated version of the watered down organics. Simple as that. They're ultimately the same. Now, once the ions or the compounds are broken down, they are the same. Same nitrogen, the same nitrate, the same ammonium, the same phosphorus, the, same diphosphate, like all of it is the same. And microbes need to both decompose and manipulate synthetics to an extent, a little bit less than organics, into something that's available for the plant. And organics need to be also decomposed and made into something that's usable for a plant. So with that out of the way, for your health, for the plant's health, it's a wash. Both of them are identical. Where the differences could lie, and some could argue there is a difference, is in what they do to the soil. So when it comes to the soil itself, the organics get the rap for doing nothing but good, and the synthetics get the rap for doing nothing but bad. And the truth is somewhere in the middle. Organics, we know, can help with soil structure on a physical level as well as on a chemical level. So on a chemical level, things like lime, for example, it's an inorganic but considered organic fertilizer that can help you properly adjust your pH of your soil. So that is a chemical attribute that is beneficial. Synthetics, on the other hand, when used excessively and over long periods of time, can actually acidify your soil. And acidification of your soil is a bad thing, because this chart here tells us exactly why we don't want something acidic, but also why we don't want something super alkaline. So that is something to think about, that from a chemical standpoint, excess synthetics can decrease your pH, while organics can be used, I guess, as a buffer to either correct what's been done with synthetics in regards to your pH, and even your water actually can cause your pH of your soil to change. That an organic fertilizer like lime, dolomite lime, can help correct that in some ways. So that's number one. Now, physically for the soil, physically, an organic fertilizer, particularly not so much the blood meals and the bone meals, and the seaweed extract or the liquid organics, but the compost and the manures, for example, these can help with soil structure on a physical standpoint. So physically, it can help with water retention, reduce erosion of soil, help with drainage, help with moisture retention, can help feed the microbes, give them food to consume, and is on its own naturally more diverse, both in microbial activity and in total nutrient profiles. So where an organic like urea, for example, is 46-00, meaning it is 40% by volume, 46% by volume, straight nitrogen. There's no minute levels of copper or phosphorus or potassium or sulfur in there. There's literally nothing but the nitrogen. When we look at it from that standpoint, we can see organics are beneficial when compared to a synthetic fertilizer, because synthetics don't do any soil building for us. There's nothing that it changes in regards to the physicality of our soil, and chemically it only negatively affects in most cases. And so some of you are probably like, Ashley, this is like not usually your way of talking about fertilizers, particularly synthetics. I'm about to just ruin so many people's days right now. Organics, well, they can add all these things, they can actually subtract them as well. So organics that are not properly composted and are not yet biodegraded actually need nitrogen in excess, because it itself does not have enough nitrogen to do decomposition, and can actually lock up nitrogen that is bioavailable to the plant, which is not ideal. So one way to get organics to work a little bit better for you and do the job a little bit quicker is to actually use synthetic nitrogen. Synthetic nitrogen can very quickly help with decomposition and very quickly increase the actual microbes that help with decomposition and humus cycling and all that stuff almost immediate. So that means if you have a compost that you've realized you've put onto your soil and it is locking up nitrogen or is making your plants act a little bit goofy, like curling of leaves, just total die-off, lack of germination, actually using like a urea fertilizer in that case may help you recover that space much more quickly than if you were to just leave it and let nature run its course on that said plot of land. This is where synthetics can increase microbial populations. Yes, that is a known fact that they will temporarily artificially inflate them. Same with, blood meal, for example. Really more quickly bioavailable forms of organics can also help, increase microbial populations. What decreases, and we know this for a fact, is rhizobium bacteria. So natural bacteria in your soil that are friendly with the legume family, if you will. And these bacterias will nitrogen fix nitrogen from the atmosphere. So that is actually one of the methods in which nitrogen is added to a soil system. And when you have nitrogen in excess inside of your soil system, legumes tend to be lazy and they won't form that symbiosis with the rhizobium bacteria. So if you've had legumes in rotation for that space and you've been trying to cultivate and encourage more rhizobium bacteria through either peas or beans or, pole beans, bush beans, you name it, that can be harmed if you choose to put nitrogen into that space. You can very rapidly decrease the nitrogen fixing bacteria in that world. And that is actually why on a large scale farming side of things, and this is funny because I actually work currently in the fertilizer industry, but I work very specifically with nitrogen. So I know this for a fact because it actually decreases our sales and harms our sales. And, what work we do, the farmers will not, and agronomists will tell them not to, and for good reason, not to actually add nitrogen in excess and to add the absolute bare minimum possible, organic or synthetic, to that soil system to ensure, maximize the dollar in that space. Help those plants nitrogen fix as much as they can. Any of those do not add any nitrogen. My method is to do a hybrid of the two. And the reason for that comes down to the fact that I do want to increase decomposition, and a great way to do that is through a synthetic fertilizer. I also want to help encourage better soil development, and the best way to actually do that is through organics like compost and manures. The other benefit to organics that synthetics don't have is long-term insurance policy. So long-term, because organics take a longer period of time to break down, they're almost like a battery reserve where if you continually add to it over time, it's going to build up in your soil. And that soil is just getting healthier and healthier and healthier. Whereas a synthetic doesn't really add much other than in that immediate time frame. So what I like to do is I like to incorporate my organics throughout the entire soil profile. And this is just for soil systems, containers, potting soils, I use synthetics and only synthetics. I do not use any organics. So just a heads up there. But in a mineral soil scenario, I will use organics throughout the entire bed. And then when it comes to synthetics, I will, option number one, put a small amount of slow release granular in and around the potting hole in which I'm going to plant the seed or the plant, transplant into, or I will choose to every once in a while fertilize with a liquid fertilizer into the spaces that are needed. And I lean more towards the use of a synthetic fertilizer in the liquid form, granular dissolved in liquid specifically. I use that when I'm noticing a plant needs it. So immediately after transplant, if there's some sort of transplant shock, things are looking a little bit goofy. Maybe things weren't hardened off properly. So there's sunburn, there's wilting, there's curling of leaves. I will give it a little bit of synthetic fertilizer just to help, perk it up, because that is immediately bioavailable to that plant. If you aren't sure what method you want to use, if you want to use a hybrid of the two, or even how to place it, like how do you place it when you're putting seed in the ground? How do you place it when you're putting a plant in the ground and transplanting? Because all of that actually matters. You're going to check out this video right here. Thank you for watching Geek Crew, and I will talk to you guys next time. See ya.